Johnny way. Nice way.
Indeed, Mushawedu Wataichemera Waba Mambembe. That was Mambembe from the great Dr. Thomas Mukanya Mapumo. Welcome, listeners and viewers from all over the world. Tinokugamushirai manerwano makuseni mangwanani masikati kwese kwese kwatiri kumativi mana enyika muchirongwa chedu chanhasi chatiri kusangana chenews review chatinotarisa maheadlines nawo dzakabuda dziri kupisa muvhiki rino ratapfuura. We welcome you all, listeners and viewers from all over the world, all around the globe, to this our program for our weekly news review at Change Radio, where we look at stories that made the headlines throughout the week. And we will be live as well on ZimEye and Change Radio News on YouTube and on Facebook. Today we are joined by our guests, Leader Barbara and Leader Estella. Welcome, and please welcome the viewers and listeners. Leaders, over to you.
Thank you so much, Leader Sophia. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabwe, from wherever you are. Mamuka sei, maskora sei, murie Zimbabwe. Lingave lichona njani, mfakazi omuhle, emagumbini omane wonke omhlaba. Sesiphendukile njalo nge-news review lapho esilinika khona indaba zonke ezenzakaleyo phakathi kweviki. Keep on tuning to ZimEye, Change Radio and Lighthouse. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leader Barbara. Over to you, Leader Estella.
Yes, thank you, Leader Sophie, and a warm welcome to you all, Change Radio listeners, whether you're on listening in on the radio or on our Facebook page or on ZimEye or on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to today's program. We are promising an interesting, exciting program. Please stay with us. Back to you, Leader Sophie.
Thank you, Leader Estela. Indeed, today we have an exciting array of topics that we have lined up for review. We'll just go over the topics in detail. We have Zimbabwe's no vote at the United Nations fight against genocide and crimes against humanity. We'll be looking at the Malaba retirement reaction by Ziambi and the ZANU-PF regime. The Gukura Hundi Memorial held for the 22 victims that were killed by the 5th Brigade on 16 May 1983. We'll be looking at the police in Harare arresting civilians and citizens for wearing face masks with MDC Alliance logo and with President Nelson Chamisa's image. Also, the COVID-19 Indian variant is now in Zimbabwe. We'll be talking about that as well. And the last week was the 1-year anniversary since the MDC trio were arrested and abducted and assaulted for demonstrating against lockdown hunger. We will also be looking at the rural teachers in Mutoko and Chiredzi who are being forced to join and form ZANU-PF cells in the party's women's and youth leagues. We'll also touch on the brain drain in Zimbabwe, particularly in the health sector, where hundreds of doctors and nurses have left the country for greener pastures. We will also be looking at the US report on the Mnangagwa regime, which has increased surveillance on churches and CSOs. We'll also be talking about Tobayo Mudede, who appeared in court after stealing farming and kitchen equipment. We'll also be talking about President Nelson Chamisa and his deputy, Deputy President Karenyi Kore, who attended the burial of Takutswa Matinenga, who sadly passed on this last week. And finally, we'll be talking about Chiwenga, who is promising to build flats with swimming pools in Mbare. So we would like to start, we'll go straight into it with Leader Barbara. If you can take us, please, Leader Barbara, on the no vote at the United Nations by Zimbabwe and other countries as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Leader Sophia. This was a very, very saddening development by Emerson Mnangagwa, who joined other countries, other dictators, in voting no for a law that was going to protect the citizens against genocide. So what it really means is that Emerson Mnangagwa was simply saying inini handidi zvekusaina kuti vanhu vasununguke, asi ndiri kurambira kusaina kuti I will continue with my dictatorial tendencies, because that was supposed to protect the people, protect the citizens, but he voted against. And those countries that he voted with, you know, it's so surprising, is those countries where there is dictatorship, countries like North Korea, countries like Kyrgyzstan, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Indonesia, Burundi, Belarus. KuBelarus kwaigara achienda kunopemha ishamwari dzake kai Belarus ishamwari dzaED. Eritrea kune hondo, Bolivia, Russia, China. We know China is the greatest. Hakuna democracy kuChina. You can't say anything that is against the government in China. Also Egypt, Cuba, and Syria. So these are the countries which are voted alongside with the Zimbabwe. It's a sad development. And also we saw a tweet yakaiswa UN Watch. You remember this? This was at a UN General Assembly. And the UN Watch put a tweet to say, and the list of shame. Countries who just voted no to UN General Assembly resolution on the responsibility to protect. You know, it's a shame because how can you vote against such a good clause, a good resolution to say those countries that that say they are going to protect their people, and then you say no, we are not going to protect our people. So this is the government, this is the president that you are dealing with, and I wonder kuti vanhu vanovhotera ZANU vanoziva zvazvinoreva here kuvhotera ZANU. Do they really know how Mnangagwa, what Mnangagwa is made of? How can we have a leader who votes against your protection? A leader who says, I'm not going to protect the people that I'm leading. And you just go and put an X there. You know, this is very, very, very saddening. And people should just wake up. They should just wake up. Mnangagwa is not fit to be a leader. Mnangagwa is a terrorist, in short.
What is also very scandalous about it, you mentioned on Twitter, President Nelson Chamisa as well. He had some remarks to make about this no vote, where he said it is scandalous, very scandalous. On the list of the countries that you mentioned that they voted no to this initiative, surprisingly, countries like Afghanistan as well, which you would expect to find saying no, actually voted in favor of this initiative. What do you think about that? Afghanistan, of all countries, actually going for these reforms and actually saying, yes, we must have these reforms. And Zimbabwe, on the other hand, saying no to such a progressive initiative.
Yeah, I think it's a very good development considering Afghanistan. There is still war there. I think they are now reforming. That shows a leader who is prepared to reform, unlike our leader who still says just because you know the reason why he had to sign a vote against this is because of none other than Nelson Chamisa, because he wants to fix the opposition. And forgetting the people that voted for him also needs protection. How stupid is he?
Yes, very much so. But unfortunately, this is the Nika Yaidu Yaita Mambembe that we just listened to. These are the words of Dr. Thomas Mapumo coming true. That Mushawedu Waita Mambembe, we are not moving forward in the direction that we should be moving. Our next topic, Leader Barbara, that we would also like you to give us an insight on. The Malava retirement fiasco continues, but this time during the week we had Minister Ziyambi, who is the Minister of Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, coming out guns blazing and going off at a tangent. What can you tell us about that, Leader Barbara?
Yes, I think that one, the issue of Malava, it was a very good move. I think we all know what happened, what transpired. It started with Advocate Kika going to court, challenging Malava's extension to say it was illegal, and the judge, Chief and Justice Joe, ruled. Of course, the extension is illegal. So Malava was no way, because you remember the amendment number 2, kuti spearhead, because they wanted to extend Malava's term of office, which was expiring on the 15th. So Malava was appointed 2 days before the 15th, and then the judgment was handed down. I think it was on the same day, citing that Malava is supposed to retire at midnight on the 15th. and there was not going to have an extension. And even if those amendments, let's say the amendments were legal, they were not supposed to start working on these judges that are there. It cannot work in retrospective. It was supposed to start working on other judges going forward, not these ones who were there when this law was being, this illegal law was being amended. I don't want to say it's law, even if they passed it, but it's still illegal, and it was challenged. By the way, the amendments were challenged. So we're gonna have a very interesting scenario in our courtroom. We are going to see how it's going to happen, because it's like the tables are now turning. The truth is now coming out. Remember, Malava, one time Joe ruled out that Zimdola ne bond is not geje. And because Malava was at the higher court, Malava overturned that ruling and ruled kuti Zimdola ne bond, Zimdola ne US dollar geje. And now Malava, because he has retired, now he wants he wants his salary in US dollar. And when he made those ridiculous decisions saying the applicable currency was the Zimbabwean dollar, he forgot that he was due for retirement. The elders had wisdom for this scenario. Kana zviri zvashoko anoti zvakapfawa, asi kana zvava kwake oti kwangu kudoko. And lapa itsumo yatiri kutaurwa izvozvo handi. So we are seeing the minister Ziyambe soon after the judgment akabva abuda. He was fuming as if the judgment was his. It was a government judgment, whereas it was Malava's judgment. Izvi zvakabva zvatiratidza kuti our court, there's no separation of power between the judiciary, the legislature and the legislature and the executive. It's one and the same thing. There are no separation of powers. That's why the minister had to fume to say, we are going to appeal. The judiciary is captured. The courts are captured by the Western. Now it's ZANU-PF saying the courts are captured. When we were telling them that the courts are captured, they refused. So now they are saying the courts are captured. We told them the courts are captured. And now it's right. It shows us that the courts are really captured. So but I liked Mnangagwa had to respond to say we respect the courts. So what it really means, people are now pushing for the resignation of Ziyambe kana kuti Ziyambe has to be fired, because how could he even threatened the judges, which is not allowed. He threatened the judges. So people are calling for Ziyambe's resignation, to say he's not fit to be a minister. It's really interesting. The stories are really interesting.
Indeed, he's not. And then comes Namatai Kwekweza as well, who has written a letter to the Judicial Service Commission through Scanlon and Holderness, demanding or asking for information to explain how the renewal of the former Chief Justice had been passed and how it happened. What is your take on that?
I think it's a very good move. I really like what Namatai is doing. A 22-year-old, she's coming. What? She's very concerned about her future. She's concerned about her country, and what she did is what was supposed to be happening before, because it is also in the constitution. Isusu as citizens, we have the right to demand for any information that is public. So this one is also a test. It's a test for our courts to see whether they are going to respect that. I can't remember which section in the constitution which says anyone, any citizen can ask for information, any information that is public. Even kana uchida kuona salary ya Mnangagwa, You can ask for that one. They are supposed to give us, kuti mnangagwa anohora mari, including my allowances. Anohora in Zim dollar here, kana kuti anohora in
US
bond
dollars.
loan. All that information they are supposed to give us because it's public. Those are public offices. Isusu we should know kuti vanohora mari because they are earning our monies, they are earning our taxes. You see now. So they have to be accountable. I think it's
They
a
have to
good
be
move.
accountable.
We are watching. We shall be watching. We shall be coming with the relevant news from this case. Not only that, there's also a case whereby the case here, the legality ndeyechiko yakaiswa yema primary primary elections. There's also a challenge to that one to say to force ZEC to declare the by-elections, not primary, sorry, the by-elections. But why are they holding on? The constitution says there has to be by-elections. Yes. So it's really coming. It's interesting because Mukatarisa, the reason why we were not moving as a country it was because of these courts that were captured, and now people Anzi Wangwara, especially with the launch of the constitutional what's it called, CR what the one that was launched for the lawyers, the resource center.
The resource center.
Yes. Yes. That one.
Thank you, Leader Stella.
Yes, just watch this. Yes, just watch this space for details because it's a very powerful center that has been launched by lawyers themselves, and they are going to use this center to research, to study about the judiciary system in Zimbabwe, and they are going to challenge each and every decision, policy. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot to look forward to, and we are happy we have got young people coming on board like Namatai, and we see a lot of new other young people also being motivated to come on board and play the part in making Zimbabwe a better place for the future. Thank you, Leader Barbara. Leader Estella, I come to you now with the Gukura Hundi Memorial. If you can just give us a rundown of that memorial for the 22 victims in Cholocho.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Leader Sophie. There's an echo.
Can you hear it? Is it still there?
And now it's okay.
Okay.
No, it's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
How is that now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah. Yes, so Gukura Hundi Memorial was held for 22 victims, 21 women and 1 man who were locked up in a building and which was then set on fire by the 5th Brigade in Cholocho. And this incident happened on the 16th of May in 1983. And yes, so a memorial was held recently to
remember.
Yes, to remember them and to offer comfort to their families who lost members of their families. And
a very sad development in our nation where over 20,000 people lost their lives.
Yes, absolutely. And it's very difficult to imagine what sort of spirit was driving this kind of brutal terrorist act. I mean, women, if they were men, you'd think maybe they'd been involved politically.
Or a war.
Yes, or even if it was a war. But women, most likely innocent victims, for no apparent reason, just thrown into a room and burnt alive. Very ruthless and cruel. And the same people who are responsible for these acts are the same people who are in power today.
No.
And yeah, and they haven't given up on their terrorist tendencies. In fact, they have sharpened their weapons and their tactics. They've gotten better at terrorizing citizens. Yeah, something that we as a people should we have to do something about these things. These things cannot go unaccounted for. These things cannot go unpunished. And these things have to be resolved, and peace should be made available to the members of the families who suffered great losses as a result.
Very important. You mentioned that the perpetrators of this violence and these inhumane acts are roaming around still free and also in power within the regime. Even after, stories of Kukurahundi are very horrendous. You get women
Yes,
who had pregnant women who had their bellies cut open by machetes.
yes,
Um, you had women being abused and sexually assaulted, with their family members being made to sing and cheer them on. But the
wow.
perpetrators, as you rightly say, are still walking free and being supposedly the leaders of the nation. So we really are in a mushawe mambembe.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. Anyway, our condolences to all those the family members. Still, even though if it's 38 years later, our thoughts are still with them. Mm. And then on the police arresting civilians and citizens who are wearing face masks with MDC Alliance logos. What can you tell us about that, Leader Estella?
Yes, more of ZANU PF theatricals. They seem to never run out of childish tricks. I suspect this is angled towards the elections. Uh,
Mm,
yes, they know that they have kicked into campaign mode, and they know MDC is bound to do the same, and
mm,
so they are trying their level best to crush the MDC to prevent them from campaigning, from spreading their messages
mm,
as they themselves are doing, which is something that they've been doing in all elections. And so we need to understand where all of this is leading to. We have been at that place before, a place where ZANU PF uh, uses fear and terror to to monopolize and to rig elections, to
mm,
make sure that the opposition is silenced,
mm,
and people are too scared to voice their opinions, and
mm,
too scared to even be affiliated with the opposition, just to
mm,
guarantee them a win in quotes at the elections.
mm,
So I think it's something that we need to gear ourselves up for, and really
mhm,
think ahead, that how are we going to circumvent this when it comes, because it definitely is coming. The
mm,
signs are in the air already. So
mm, mm,
I think we really need to work towards a solution.
mm, mm. Well, at least we can thank them because we know what they're planning and we can be prepared
Yes,
and ready for
exactly.
them.
They're letting us
Mm.
know before time.
Yeah. Anyway, this the theatricals, as you rightly say, of our government. That's the screen, the picture there showing the admission of guilt paid by one of the citizens who were made to pay a $500 fine for wearing a face mask with an MDC logo and the picture of President Nelson Chamisa. I think that is just ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. It's kushai wachaiko. What Oliver Mtukuti sang and said, gondo kana rachaya rinongo tora chero marara. So this is where we have our police as well. How can you arrest someone for wearing a face mask with a logo that of a party that you're trying to discredit? Thank you very much, Leader Stella. And moving forward,
Also,
we
Leader Sophia,
mm,
I think I think our police. You remember when I was saying separation of powers? Our police is like they are a ZANU PF wing. Uh,
mhm,
they don't save the people; they save ZANU PF. And we saw some people wearing face masks. ZANU PF, a Minister of what? People wear what they want. There is freedom in Zimbabwe. The constitution of Zimbabwe allows anyone to associate with any organization of his or her own choice. And
mhm,
it's like arresting someone for wearing a uniform kuchikoro kana kuti uniform yechurch, church
mm,
yeRoma, church yeMethodist. Why are you wearing this? Remember, we also have got students from Zinasu who
the
were
NAS.
arrested for wearing that Zinasu
Mm,
t-shirt. So
mm,
it really shows us how democracy has died in Zimbabwe, and it only takes us citizens to rise up and resist this kind of dictatorship. Today it was Zinasu, tomorrow is this guys. Ndiwe
mm,
mangwana ndiwe uchabatwa.
mm,
So
mm,
it's like we have to unite. I like
mm,
the unit that is there now within our lawyers. The lawyers are
mm,
united, the teachers are united, labor is
mm,
united. So the
mm,
citizens are also supposed to unite. My
the
political
NAS.
parties, they are supposed to unite. And let's
Mm,
fight this government head on
mm.
and kill, destroy this dictatorship.
Absolutely, absolutely, Leader Barbara. Absolutely. This government that is clueless, like Leader Estella has pointed out, showed us as well during the week in Kwekwe where the COVID-19 variant, the Indian variant, was discovered, where they had conflicting statements that Kwekwe was going to be put on a 2-week lockdown, and then the next minute there was another statement saying no, Kwekwe is not going to put on a lockdown. And then eventually another statement coming out again saying Kwekwe is going to be put under a 2-week lockdown. What was your take on that, Leader Barbara?
Uh, that one, there was Munangagwa addressed the people in Gokwe, right?
Yes.
And Gokwe is in the Midlands, Kwekwe is in the Midlands. And
Midlands.
when he addressed the crowd, we saw the letters circulating, the letters about the restrictions, the
Mm,
lockdown. They started to circulate, and when people started questioning Kuti, why did Mnangagwa hold a meeting with the chiefs when Kwekwe is under lockdown? They then
mhm,
shifted the goalpost to say there's nothing like, they disputed that later. They said it's not authentic. But, it shows us how irresponsible this government is, and how they choose to selectively apply the law. It's
mm,
only the opposition that is arrested when they've broken these COVID regulations. But
mm,
ZANU-PF can go, they can
mm,
go without being implicated in this lockdown, in this breaking of the
breaking.
lockdown rules. Even Passion Java, we na Chiwanga, we saw them watch address my
Mm,
youth, a lot of them,
mm,
but nothing was
mm,
done to them. And they also
no.
saw there's a video that I saw women that were at a meeting, MDC meeting, when the police came to disrupt, to say you are breaking COVID rules. I liked the challenge that was in those women. They were challenging the police to say, why are you arresting us? We have never seen you arresting ZANU-PF. So they were challenging the
Yes.
police.
Mhm,
So they went
mhm,
ahead with that meeting. This is the resistance that I'm talking about. People should resist. Haikona
mhm,
kungobvuma zvese zvese, because an uprising haingotangi nokuti hande yemumastreet, inotangira kumba kwako kwaugere ikoko. Kana
mhm,
uchidzvinyirirwa
mhm,
munharaunda maugere uchidzvinyirirwa, speak out.
mhm,
Kuchikoro, speak out. Don't let people do whatever they want to do on you, because you also have got your rights. Let's resist dictatorship everywhere, because that's how we are gonna win this struggle. Atingotangi nekuenda murodhi pasina chaitika. Panototanga patota. If you read very well the history, like the spark cause of the Second World War or the First World War, the pakatoita tuma incidents tudiki diki twakatofanika wana Sarajevo incidents kuti pazoitike Second World War. Wana vanangotanga ndokuita Second World War pasina kuitika tuma small incidences. So those people who are saying, what are you doing? What is Chamisa doing? Iwewe, what are you doing? Because it's no longer an issue of the opposition. It's no longer an issue of Chamisa. It's now me and you, every Zimbabwean, because it is
You're very right. The words, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's coming to ring true now, because as you rightly say, it's up to each and every one of us to stand up and make a change and make a difference. The Indian boss, the owner of Pure Oil Industry, Zim Gold, also bringing in a plane full of his relatives from India who were not quarantined. The plane was stopped, but he just made a phone call to ED, and the airport staff were instructed to let them in and let them go without any quarantine. Obviously not going to help our COVID-19 figures. Leader Estella, what's your take on that?
Yes, another demonstration of how irresponsible our so-called president is, to just allow a plane load of people coming from an area where there is, at the moment, the worst situation in terms of COVID infection, and there is, and then this new variant, which is said to be lethal, and he knows these people are coming from there, and there's a good chance any of them could be carrying the virus, and to just allow them to enter the country without at least insisting that they should be tested to make sure that they are free of the virus before they enter the country. That is so irresponsible, and it just shows that he seems not to understand, he seems not to know what he's doing at all. Like a person who's clueless in power and drunk on
dangerous combination.
Very dangerous combination, that's right. And now there is a case of this very same variant that was discovered in which city was that?
Kwekwe.
Yeah, Kwekwe, yes. And the person who was carrying the virus already died. Now, how many people was he in contact with before he fell sick and before he died? It's quite tragic to have someone like him who is clueless and greedy. I'm sure there's corruption behind this. I'm sure he got a lot of money from this boss to allow from the boss of Zim Gold, to allow his relatives to go in unchecked.
I'm sure. Yeah. Anyway, let's take a short break, have a glass of water, and we watch a video. After the video, we continue with our news review for the past week.
Ini ndiri mwana kuna former president vaMugabe. Patanzwa kuti amai vakaripoterwa kudare ravazvimba. Taenda ikoko semhuri tichida kuti tinoteerera nyaya yekuti iri kufamba sei. Hatina kubvumirwa kupinda kudare ikoko. But chiri kundishamisa ndechekuti vaZvimba ivo saParamount Chief vanotungamirira madzishe ekwaZvimba ari matatu, kuti ivo Mambo Zvimba, Mambo Beperera naMambo Chidziva, kuti haukamu kuti vanosungisa mudzimai wemufi. Mai Mugabe havana kuviga vaMugabe kwamarufu, vakavaviga kumusha kwedu kuno kwazvimba tiri isu magushungu takati mwana wedu toda kuti avigwa apa sekutaura kwaakaita iye mufi kuti handidi kunovigwa kumwe kunhu ndoda kuvigwa kumusha kwangu kwazvimba. Ndochemerwa mukicheni maamai vangu vabhona, saka handizive kuti ipapa kunyunyuta kwedu isu semhuri kuri pakuti haukamu kuti isu tarambidzirwei tinonzwa mhosva yanga ichipomerwa amai vedu, tarambidzirwei kunonzwa kuti chii changa chichiitika nokuti isusu tisu takaviga baba vamugabe semwana wemumusha tisu takanotema rukawa sezvandataura pakutanga nokuti chivanhu chedu chokwazvimba chinoti munhu akafa anotemerwa rukawa nemhuri yemusha make. Ndashamisika kuti nhasi wai muri kusungisa mukadzi nokuti vamugabe vanga vasiri mwana wekuchivhu, vanga vari mwana wekuno kwazvimba uye vari mambo kuno kwazvimba zvakare. Ivo mambo zvimba kuzosara vamambo zvavari vanga vari ziso rafoma president ivava vamugabe. Saka izvozvo ndo pandinoda kuti ndinzwisise kuti chii chambonyatsoitika ende zviri kufamba sei, nokuti hakuna dare rinoitwa riri remadzimambo chete. Ndanzwa kuti kwakuna mambo Serima, kwakuna vachidziva, kwanga kuna mambo Beperere naivo vazvimba, kuti dare racho vanga vachiritonga chirudzii. Uye ivo vazvimba vacho pakufa kwakaita vamugabe vairara kuMipuzi Hotel. Pavairara kuMipuzi Hotel vairara vachiti vari kuitei ikoko. Mari yekurara kuMipuzi Hotel vanga vaiwanepi? Yanga isiri mari yechema here yavaicelebrata kufa kwakaita mushakapu. Isusu tanga tichifungidzirwa tichabatana pamwe chete semhuri imwe chete kuti tirambe tichiti kuchema mufi ikona paane gore, but vanhu vari kuramba vachitisumudza isusu kutirwadzisa nekufirwa kwatakaitwa. Handisi kunzwisa kuti umambo hwakuvhoterwa here kana kuti umambo hwakuitwa sei, nokuti zvavaita.
Wow. Very, very interesting indeed. The relatives of the former president, Robert Mugabe, coming out and lots of questions asking where was Chief Zimba when the former president was being buried, and coming out and with information that he was actually in the Miko's Hotel, possibly spending Maria Chema. Leader Estella, just your comments on that video.
Yeah, so everything that's just happening in our country doesn't make sense.
No. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't even make head or tail of what's going on. Why this Chief Zimba is all of a sudden, after a whole year, demanding that a person who was buried in his presence, probably with his approval, he starts to demand that his wife has to come for a hearing to do with why she decided that he should be buried. And as the gentleman in the video pointed out, it is not Grace Mugabe's place to decide where her husband should be buried.
Absolutely.
It is his family who decide, and she really has no say in it. She just plays her role as the Murora and plays along with what the family has decided. But yeah, anyway, this smirks of ZANU PF politicking.
Something is happening. Anyway, let's watch this space and let's see where it takes us. I'm sure something will definitely come up with this about this story.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go on, Leader Estella. I'm going to ask you to give us a brief a rundown on the rural teachers in Mutoko and Chiredzi who are being forced to join ZANU PF and to form cells, the Women's League and Youth League cells for ZANU PF in these rural areas.
Oh, yes. Yet just another, I'm sorry to say, but another example of the lawlessness and lack of shame, being demonstrated by ZANU PF once again. Just because people are civil servants doesn't mean they have to align with the ruling party. even civil servants have their right to choose and to decide whom they want to align with and whom they want to vote for. And so it is shocking to hear that, ZANU PF is going around trying to force them to align with their party and threatening them probably that if they don't do that, they might forego their salaries and any benefits that civil servants get part of their service. But there is like adding an injury to an insult, because our teachers are already getting meager salaries, nothing to to really compensate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really tragic that our government doesn't value us as people. They don't see us as people. They see us as commodities to be used for their personal gain and their personal benefit. But it is something that we have to stand up against and say, no, we are not, we don't belong to you. You belong to us. We are the government. You are working for us. You are our
For
servants.
us.
Yes.
Exactly what Leader Barbara said, that you wonder if someone votes for ZANU PF is in their right mind.
Those are all the same. They are all in the same category. They are greedy people who are seeing an opportunity to make money. They don't care about the country. They don't care about the next person. All they are seeing is the money that they can make by, aligning with ZANU PF. And that's why they, resort to all these desperate, uh, you know, tactics.
Tactics and
Yes.
mm. Right, Leader Barbara. Going ahead, we also saw the 1 year anniversary after the ladies, Joanna, the MDC Alliance trio were arrested and abducted and sexually assaulted after demonstrating against the lockdown hunger. It was 1 year, I think, on the 16th of May, this last week. Can you
Yes.
just give us a bit about that?
Yes. As we are all aware, our trio, Joanna Mamombe, Cecilia Chimbiri, and Netai Maroa, were abducted last year on the 16th of May. Abducted, tortured, and they were sexually abused by the state security agents. When they were taken in Harare, when they were from a demonstration, remember it was soon after the introduction of lockdown, whereby the government did not put any safety measures for the people. The informal sector was closed, but the government had promised it was going to give people money. There wasn't any money given. Zimbabwe was given COVID funds, of which those funds were never used for the intended use. Instead, the money was looted by, I remember, the former Minister of
Drugs.
Health, Obadiah Moyo, and we know he was fired because of the pressure that was put by the people. There was a campaign to fire Obadiah Moyo, and he was fired, just like a campaign to fire the Kembo Mahadi. So people have got power, and I can foresee one day tables are gonna change, are gonna turn, and we are going to attain our independence. So these girls, what boggles our mind is, instead of the government, the state are looking for the abductors. The story was twisted to say they were faking abductions. So they got a case which was filed by the state to say they they it was what a falsehood claim, to say they falsified that they were abducted. Can you imagine? Kuti going through all that, and then you are told Kuti you are faking it because they don't want investigations to be carried on the security. They know Kuti that's what they do. They were trying to silence the girls. That's what they do. If they want to silence women who are brave, women who are vocal, they rape them. We've got so many women that were raped by the state security, by the ZANU PF thugs, and they are just walking scot free. And how do you think these women feel after seeing their perpetrators just walking spot free? So
Very
the
traumatized, I'm
trio
sure.
are still attending. Court cases. The case is yet to be heard. Nothing has been done. You know, at first they were denied bail, and then when we made noise, the bail was later granted. And you know, it's a lot. These young women, they've gone through a lot. You know, but what makes us happy as a party and as women and as Zimbabwe is that these women, they are steadfast, they are resolute, they are saying they are going to continue fighting for their rights until Zimbabwe is free.
It's free. Very strong women who we continue to support. Very, very strong.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. Leader Estella, if you can just give us a brief on the brain drain that Zimbabwe is facing, particularly in the health sector.
Oh yes, I don't find that surprising at all. That given the treatment that our health um, workers have been given by the government,
Mm,
uh, yes, from meager salaries to persecution whenever they try to speak out and to object and to to fight for better remuneration.
mm,
uh, yeah, they get arrested and they are threatened.
mm,
And then I have to applaud them because they have tried their best. They have stayed in the country and tried to continue to serve their country. But in such a situation where even in the hospital where they're expected to work, they don't even have gloves, or,
gloves.
yes, or personal protection against COVID.
Mm,
Like it's really heroic for them to have continued to work in our health system all this
mm,
time, given the
mm,
conditions that they've been working under. And
mm,
I don't blame them if the back of the camel has been broken and they find it easier to move to greener pastures where they
mm,
get better remuneration and they get better working conditions, and
mm.
they can support their families as well. So
Yes.
and it's not only in the health, in the health service department. All across the board,
Mm,
there are no jobs, and people are
mm.
forced to leave the country to look for greener pastures.
Mm, mm. What is shocking as well is that the minister in charge of this health department, the health ministry, Constantino Chiwenga, um, he's the one who was going back and forth with the decision: is Kwekwe on lockdown? Is it not on lockdown? Yes, it's on lockdown, and he has come out with a surprising statement that they are going to build flats and houses in Mbare with swimming pools. What's your take on that, Leader Estella?
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like, from things like this, we really need to know that we are dealing with people who are not stable mentally. Uh,
Absolutely.
yes, and this is not the first time he has said something like this. Before elections last in 2018, he
Mm.
promised that everyone in Zimbabwe, they were going to build houses for everyone in Zimbabwe. And uh,
I
it's just
just,
preposterous, to imagine that.
mm,
But these are people who have experienced, our liberation struggle. These are people who have probably killed, they have spilled blood. And
mm,
muchishona tine yatinoti ngozi, I am
mm.
convinced kuti vanhu ava vane ngozi. Ndozvinhu
Um,
zvinovaafecta, havasisiri right mumusoro umu.
mm,
Zvese zvavari
mm.
kuita, it doesn't make sense. They are not in
It's,
control of their faculties.
it's not normal. It's not normal. You're very right. It's not normal. Right.
and
Leader
and,
Barbara.
and also also Leader Sophia, on that one, on the Mbare
Mm,
flats, do you know it was a promise in 2018? This he said it in 2018 to say Hanzi, Chiwenga promises flats with swimming pools for Mbare residents, 14 July 2018. It made a news in 2018. And then he goes on to say, the same Chiwenga goes on to say, and Zimbabwe will be the first place that we are going to develop in Harare. And those that had relocated to Borodale and Mount Pleasant will come back to Mbare. Can you imagine? Yeah, that's mockery. That's mockery. Yes, and we are now in 2021. Nothing has been done to those people in Mbare. And Muchawana kuti towards elections is gonna come with a something that is gonna, I don't know. That's why I'm saying kuti maZimbabweans ndofunga tinenge tine makonye mumusoro. We don't think properly. Kuti these people have been promising since 1980. They've been making promises that they've never fulfilled.
Empty promises.
Can you imagine?
And ridiculous promises.
It's like we are treating. It's like we are treating Zimbabweans like idiots.
And we are so used to it now. But you know, I'm glad there seems a new wind is blowing in Zimbabwe. We just hope it gains momentum and it stays like that. And something happens. Something has got to give. Something has got to give. Right. Going on, Leader Barbara, can you just give us a background or just your input on the late Takuzo Matinenga and the family as well, and our President Nelson Chamisa also attending that burial in Mrambinda?
Okay. I asked the admin to play a video for us when the president went to Buera to bury Takuzo Matinenga. By the way, I think he's playing that video. What's happening?
Right, the people's president indeed. Zimbabwe's light at the end of the tunnel. We can just see, you know, the people's joy at mixing and mingling with the president there.
Yes, it's heartwarming.
Very much so.
I remember I heard the speech that President Chamisa gave at the at the funeral, and I could see he couldn't resist the temptation to take a jab at
Yeah. So I was saying, Kuti Tafadzwa, am I clear?
Yes, we can hear you, Leader Barbara.
Yes, I was saying Tafadzwa Matinenga is the son to.
Hello, Leader Barbara. Leader Barbara. I think we are losing Leader Barbara there for a minute. Leader Barbara? Leader Estella, can you hear her?
No, I don't hear Leader Barbara. I think she's freezing.
Yeah, it looks like, but I think she was mentioning that the late Takuzo Matinenga was the son of former Minister Minister Eric Matinenga. Leader Barbara, are you back with us now? No, I think maybe there might be a connection problem. But anyway, Takuzo was the son of former Minister Eric Matinenga, who was a rare breed. He actually is a rare breed because he was a minister who said, you know what, I'm not going to continue.
Yes, I was saying kuti Takuzwa Matinenga is the son to Eric Matinenga. I think you all know him.
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Leader Barbara.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Oh, it looks like she
Leader
doesn't
Barbara?
hear us.
Yes. Can you hear
We
me?
can hear you. Please continue. Please continue, Leader Barbara. We can hear you. Okay, all right. I think
Yes,
maybe we might.
I can hear you.
We can hear you. Please continue, Leader Barbara.
Okay, okay. I was saying Takuzo Matinenga is the son to our former Minister of Legal Affairs during the Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Leader Barbara. Okay, I think there might be a connectivity problem there.
Yes, I was saying kuti Takuzo is the son to the former Minister of Deputy Minister of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs in the GNU.
Mm-hmm. Leader Estella.
Yes, Leader Sophia.
Hi, Leader Estella. I think maybe we might be having a bit of a connectivity problem there, but we are about to wrap up. Can I ask you to just make give us your input on the U.S. report that says the Mnangagwa regime has increased surveillance on churches in Zimbabwe?
Oh yes, absolutely. Apparently, since churches have started to speak out against the oppression of civilians and opposition by the ZANU-PF, ZANU-PF has started to see them as threats to their position. Something typical of dictators who are paranoid. Yeah, they cannot relax, they cannot be at ease because they know that they are in power by force. So they are always fearful that someone is trying to, to remove them, to get them out of power. But the statements released by the churches, especially the Bishops Association of the Catholic Church, was no way political at all. They simply encouraged all Zimbabweans to try and uphold peace and mutual respect and to uphold human rights. Yeah, but as people who feel entitled, the ZANU-PF government and its members, they feel entitled. They think they own the country just because maybe they fought the liberation war. So they feel like anyone who does not flat out support them is an enemy, and so they've already started to increase surveillance of these civic society organizations and churches. But it's a good thing, because in the past, some of these organizations have kind of been aligned, not so much aligned, but afraid to speak out against the PF. But it's a good thing that now they're starting to come out and say the truth as it is. And it's a good sign that where we are going, we are getting bolder and braver.
Yes.
And yes, and soon a lot of other people will feel empowered and
join in.
Yes, to join in, and it's a good sign.
Well, I think we have Leader Barbara back. Leader Barbara, can you hear me now? Leader Barbara.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, so glad
Yes.
to have you back. Can we have your input on Eric Martinenga's burial?
Oh, on Takudzwa.
Oh, my apologies.
Eric Martinenga.
My apologies. It's actually
I didn't
Takudzwa
even know.
Martinenga, the son of former Minister Eric Martinenga.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I was just saying, Kuti, we lost a very brilliant boy. He died in an accident. His dad, the mom, Kadas, MDC Kadas, the former deputy minister of legal affairs. So the president went there in Buera to pay his last respect there since he was buried in Buera. And you know what happened there in Buera? People forgot that they were at a funeral, just seeing the president. You know, people
President.
were so happy. Even when he stopped at Murambinda Growth Point, you know, people. I think people saw the video that you just played. Kuti, President Chamisa is the people's president because people were all over. They wanted to take photos. Some wanted selfies, and we didn't even see him achirambidza vanhu kusvika padhuze naye. So you
No.
see kuti handioni kuti even chero vakazoita president wenyika, I think vanenge vachitofamba nevanhu chaiko kana kutokwira bhasikoro sezvinoita mamwe mapresidents ekune dzimwe nyika, kutofamba netsoka chaiko, because if he has nothing, he is a people's president. So ukaona munhu anofamba nemabodyguard anodini, anotya zvivi zvake, kuti ane zvivi zvakawandisa, because anoziva kuti the people don't trust him, the people don't love him. So anotya. That's why uchiona achiita zvekushidzira kufosekedza vanhu kuti vamude. I've never seen such a thing happening to Mnangagwa. I've never seen people vachimhanyira Mnangagwa the way people run for
That will never
Chamisa.
happen.
You know, yeah,
Rest assured,
I've
that will never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think for now, for today, we can wrap up here. Thank you so much to our panelists, Leader Stella and Leader Barbara. Thank you very much for your inputs. Our viewers and our listeners all around the globe, we thank you, we value you. Thank you as well to our partners, Zim-I, Lighthouse, and Change Radio. As well, we want to just thank you for being with us today. And to just wrap up and end up our review for today, we leave you listening to the sounds, the new album from the artist. He's based in Gweru, and his name is Milo, the comedian, from his new album entitled Kiamondo. We leave you listening to the title track, Kiamondo. Please stay tuned on Change Radio and Zimai. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, viewers and listeners.
Bonke ombuzayo ngowabulindo sonke sibuthe nendabo